Hey, welcome. This is the Natural Balance Masterclass. My name is Neal. Some of you have met me. Some of you are literally meeting me for the first time. If that's you, welcome. For those of you that have already met me, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. You could literally be anywhere doing anything, and you're right here, and I honor you for that. And I'm bringing conscious attention to the presence that you are in this space. So what is this space? Well, this particular space where you're in is called the Natural Balance Masterclass. Well, what's Natural Balance Masterclass? Well, Natural Balance Masterclass is an aspect of the foundation of natural balance, and it specifically is the virtual foundation of natural balance. Natural Balance also has physical ceremonies and in-person events. And so you here on this platform of Zoom are connecting to Neal, who's a founder and facilitator of Natural Balance, virtual and physical ceremonies. And you're here connecting virtually, and this is an opportunity for you to nurture balance and cooperation within yourself. To and you only want to do this if you want to produce the fruits of balance and cooperation outside of your physical body. And if you don't want to see balance and cooperation outside of your physical body, and and ultimately having this lead to healing, then this really isn't even the space to be at. Because I'm just putting this out there right now that the fruits that will come from being here in your life are balance, cooperation, and healing fruits. So if you don't want balance, cooperation, and healing fruits, and you would rather want anger and pride and having it be all about like meville, and having it be about like seeing how much dysfunction you can create, then this really is not the space. And what this is the space for is people who are aligned with nurturing balance, with nurturing cooperation, and then ultimately having that lead to healing. And what natural balance calls a healed person is a person who's experiencing oneness most of the time. So if you're here to nurture balance, to nurture cooperation, and have this lead to the healing of you personally, and then also to the collective healing of the one, welcome. I'm humbled and grateful to be here. I'm present. I'm so blessed to be a blessing, to be able to express my voice and for you to receive the words that I'm expressing. When I'm speaking from the place that I'm speaking from, it's a community, it's a soul communication. It's an aligned communication. It's a communication that is stemming from the highest perspective, and is being received by the heart, and flowing from the heart through the throat and straight out the mouth. So what you're hearing when I'm speaking is channeled content that's coming in through the heart, and then coming out the mouth. So what you're hearing when I'm talking, um, I'm hearing at the exact same time that you're hearing it. And because what isn't happening is the information is not going to my brain to be processed. It's actually directly just flowing out of my mouth, from my heart through my mouth. This is important because if you try to figure out what I'm saying, if you try to process what I'm saying, if you try to think through what I'm saying, it's not going to work. What it will work for is create confusion. It'll create stories. It can create assumptions. It can create misperceptions, expectations. If you try to figure out what I'm saying, you can generate my truths. You can generate opinions from it, and it'll all be a mind thing. If you're listening from your head, you're dead. If you're operating from your head, you're dead. If you're listening from your head, you're actually not listening. And the reason for that is because if you're listening from your head, you're listening from a place of talking about what the other person is saying, which is actually not even listening. So it's if you are listening from your head, when I'm talking, you're creating words and stories inside of your brain that's like explaining what I'm saying, and then it's also those same stories and words are also creating context, creating a comment, creating a reply to speak to once I'm finished talking. And because you're coming up with this reply, this context, this story, um, in you coming up with that while I'm talking, you're actually not even being present and listening while I'm talking. And so that's head communication. Now, heart communication, heart listening, heart speaking. Where I'm speaking from is from the heart. Where I'm speaking from is from the higher self, is from source. It's source coming through. And I can do this, and I know this, and I know you can do this. And I'm like, I have full confidence and the full power of God to speak these words into creation as reality. And so heart listening is a listening that essentially occurs when you let go of the brain, when you let go of the ego, when you let go of the filter. Heart communication is only possible when you love people too much to not offend them, and when you find your fuck it, and you finally just you express the truth, the reality. Well, what's the truth? What's the reality? The truth is we're all one. The truth is love is the only infinite energy, and it is also the connective tissue. It's the fascia that connects everything. The truth is that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal to or greater opportunity. The truth is that you matter. The truth is that I matter. The truth is that everything works out for good for those who believe that it does work out for good. So that is the truth that you're speaking from and that you're listening from when communicating from a heart space. And this communication from a heart space is it's a channeled communication, and it's a open listening. See, when you're listening with your heart wide open and you're just receiving, what you're in the listening for is you're listening as discernment of what's being said. And this shows up in when you're listening and you're listening as discernment. Words are coming in, but there's no brain story going on. So what's going on in the head is just like complete silence. It's complete emptiness. It's complete quiet. There's an element of peace. There's an element of love. And that's what's happening in the brain, but it's also happening throughout the physical body. And when you're listening from the heart, what's occurring is that the brain is quiet. The body stance, like literally how you're standing, how you're sitting. There's an openness quality to it. So heart listening, brain's quiet, your physical body's open, and when you're listening, you're being the role of the feminine, and so you're also in this receiving mode, and that's heart listening. And additionally, another aspect is once you've listened to what's being said, you might ask the person, well, was that complete, or is there more to say? And then they'll either, if they say that's complete, then if you're listening from your heart, that's when you can then step in and generate a response to what was spoken to. And in order to generate this response, you actually have needed to be listening for, if this person was talking for 5 minutes, then there's a need to listen for the duration of the 5 minutes, to be completely, entirely present in the moment, in every moment of those 5 minutes. And in doing so, with your heart wide open, a response can be formulated. But controversially, or not even controversially, but like looking at it from the perspective of brain listening, if you're brain listening, the person stops talking and immediately you react with a pre-created response. From heart listening is the person speaks, and you're listening, and then they finish speaking, and you might ask a question like, "Is there more to say, or is this communication complete?" And then from this space of listening, now I can formulate a response. Woo! So I'm gonna have some water, and mm, and now now we continue. Well, continue to where? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Where we're continuing is to a place of ultimate healing, and this ultimate healing is the collective consciousness. So early on, when I say I, the thing that's saying the I is the true self. And so in the past, Neal has experienced this like separation. Most of us have experienced separation. I think the only one who never experienced a separation from God was Jesus. He was always connected to the Father throughout his entire life experience. And so I've experienced Neal's experienced separation growing up, and in that experience of separation, Neal thought that if Neal healed Neal, then that was it. It was grandiose, bueno, perfection. Neal is now going to heaven, and it's just like riding into the sunset, and this the happy ending of a fairy tale. If Neal gets healed, if Neal's experiencing oneness most of the time, that's it. Journey complete. You've completed your assignment. You've completed your incarnation on Earth. And I used to think this when I perceived Neal as being separate, and even with the name Neal, by putting a name to the thing that I am, it's generating the perception of separation. See, separation is an illusion, but we generate perceptions of what that illusion looks like. So when Neal was being like a perceiving himself as being separate, and actually because of that, also seeing himself as being small, then what what that led to was like a personal path, like Neal's here to fulfill a path, and that it really, like, nobody else really has effect or guidance or trajectory generation, or nobody else really affects the path that I'm on. And that's the truth from the highest perspective, when I am is saying that nobody affects the path that I am on. But when Neal is having his life experience, what is becoming increasingly obvious is that Neal can experience healing. Neal can literally be 100% healed and still be on Earth, like, and then so the question comes up, well, what now? Like, I've done this healing, like I don't feel attachment, like I don't feel like this desire, like I need to go get something, like I feel peaceful, I feel present, and I'm grateful for where I'm at, and the soul family that I'm surrounded with, and that I have a roof over my head and clothes that I'm wearing, and I actually got a full stomach, and so I'm grateful for all these aspects. And what I'm recognizing is that when I was, well, now what I'm recognizing is that one person can heal, but because we're all one, until the one is healed, the individual there's all these aspects that are still unhealed. That is the collective. Specifically the collective consciousness. The this soul coming through, being perceived as Neal, is an aspect of the collective consciousness, but it is an aspect that is being expressed through a body, and there's so with that being said, this same aspect that's being expressed through, when you actually recognize the truth, that aspect isn't necessarily coming through the body, it's also the body simultaneously. Yes, it's coming through the body, but this aspect that's coming through is also the body and is also the object surrounding the body. That's where this idea of oneness comes in. And that's the collective consciousness, that's the unity consciousness. And when we identify with unity consciousness, when we identify with all that has ever been and all that is right now and all that ever will be in the future, when we identify with that, we know, we have certainty that until the entire collective humanity is healed, there will be unhealed aspects within who I am, not within Neal. And because they're not within Neal, these unhealed aspects are literally in the whole I am. And if I identify as Neal, the avatar, as the body, then I can have like this experience of literally, and this was how I operated in the past, where I literally perceived Neal as being an individual and as being separate from the whole. And because of this, I used to think that if Neal healed, then that's it. Like that's the completion. Like the incarnation's complete. There's nothing more to do if I experience healing. But what I recognize now is that like Neal can heal, but I also now know that I'm not Neal, and that Neal is an aspect of who I am, and who I am is oneness, and I identify with oneness, and I identify with all that there ever was, all that there is right now, and all that there ever is going to be. That's who I am. And when I'm speaking from my heart, I'm speaking from who I am. And when I'm speaking from who I am, it's because that I've identified with who I am. And from this perspective, from this identification, when I now look at, so I'm now looking through the lens of oneness rather than this lens of separation. So the Neal identity was like this. It was a lens of also perceiving Neal as being small. Because if he's just separate, if he's just his body, then there's like this small aspect. But now, looking from the perspective of oneness, I see Neal as huge and exponential and all that there is. And because of that, what I recognize is that Neal can be healed, but until all the other aspects of who I am are healed, ultimate healing is it's literally it's not a thing from the perspective of oneness until all the aspects are actually experiencing one. If just one part of the one is experiencing oneness, that's not complete. So the picture is only complete when all the aspects are experiencing oneness. And experiencing is to feel, yes, but it's also to see. Because if I see but I don't feel oneness, then I'm not fully experiencing it. And again, if I feel oneness but I don't see the connection everywhere, I'm not fully in the experience of it. So oneness, having the experience of it is to see it and to feel it. And when we collectively interdependently generate and identify with the perspective of oneness, then I am healed. But if Neal is healed, but there's these other attributes that aren't, oneness I am is still in the process of healing. And welcome, Jalal Dave.
Hey there. Oh, I'm on mute. Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, I dropped in late. I'm sorry. I was involved in something, and then I saw the notification, so I just chimed in. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is it just me?
So, what's that?
Is it just me and you here?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you were talking about the oneness. I was I'm laughing to myself. So your pronouns then are all that is?
See, they're not programs. They're not pronouns. What they are is a discernment of reality.
Right. No, you were just saying you identify as all that is. So I'm just thinking
Yes.
that the pronoun now. So all is.
Yes.
So we
I hear
to.
what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is not a pronoun. What I'm saying is like
Yes. No,
what I'm saying is it's literally a discernment.
Gotcha. No, I was just teasing a little bit there, but yeah. So because everything's pronouns now. But no, there's was it Bob Marley? Being that I'm Jah Love, but I think he said, "He who feels it knows it," and I think it's what you're referring to. That if you don't feel it, you don't know it. But now that you can download the feeling or accept the feeling to feel it out, you have a knowing there. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's good. I mean, as Jonathan talks about, we're here to feel fully. So that's how you have connected with oneness, is by feeling that connection to all, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, and this knowing aspect, this is knowing is like it's a super high frequency. I could marry knowing with certainty. So like knowing and certainty are like pretty much the same thing. I know there's distinguishing to generate difference, but what I'm doing is marrying them to point towards the high frequency that knowing is. And it's the reason it's such a high frequency is because it's the frequency of truth. When you know, you know, and when you don't know, you don't know. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, but when you know, you actually do know that you know. And because of that, this knowing when you know when you're congruent, and it's also taking a stand, because if you know, you're going to take a stand for what you know, because you can know here conceptually, and because you know the truth conceptually, you'll have a physical no, you'll have a line to draw when it's like when it's a distortion, when it's out of alignment. And when it is in alignment, there's this intuitive knowing that I'm saying comes from the heart and permeates the body. And this people are confronted with knowing, and what they're confronted with, and the people that are confronted with it are controlling people. The people that are confronted with it are people who don't like to take responsibility. The people who are confronted with it are people who have had like arrogant bosses or husbands or wives and or friends in their lives. All these people, when you know, when you're congruent with the truth, they flare up, they get triggered because they experience this aspect of somebody actually thinking they know, and but it wasn't so, and they thought they knew, but when they said it, it was either a literally a like a story, or it was an opinion, and which is where the arrogance comes in, because if a person knows but then they just won't change with their knowing, and it's actually a distortion that might be an opinion or a my truth or a perception. That's arrogance, and so this knowing has the capacity to bring things up in people, and I saw it happen today, which is why I'm speaking about it.
Well, probably if you're aware, you'll see it happen every day, because people are going through their own personal journeys, and many people are stuck in an egoic, their own truth, as you say. And when I guess they're confronted, as the phrase is, love confronts dysfunction, and that confrontation that becomes the trigger, because there's lack of congruency, and that inflicts that sort of pain, that flare up, because they're not congruent with truth, and that's why they have a reaction. Whereas if they were in the truth, they wouldn't have that disassociation or that incongruency flare up, really. So that they would say, "Oh, yes, I agree. That is truth. That is right." But truth is something that is, it's a self-realization. I don't think it's a moment of knowing all. Knowing is a journey, really, of continuing, weighing out things from the heart versus the mind or the ego, and being able to decipher or discern those things coming at you, and creating that alignment, or weighing it between the head and the heart, really, that journey to see if it is really truth and knowing versus something false, my truth versus the truth. So I think the path is a journey, and it never ends, because knowing is, you can't know it all, that's for sure. God is all knowing, all everything, and we are on the path to achieve that greater sense of knowing, but it is a ongoing experience. And that's part of the joy of being here, I think, in the 3D, as Neal, as you are, as in the flesh, is that you're able to experience truths as you learn them and know them, and now you live them. So I think it's what you're saying, is that you're now living as you can in the truth, kind of discarding the old Neal, and becoming this sense of oneness, which is all that is, in your now new self, your true self, right? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, in the I am self. That's literally it, and that's literally what natural balance is committed to bringing through people. Is this aspect of the I am, this aspect of the true self, that it just comes through a person. It's not something you can figure out. It's what naturally happens when you stop doing, and it's received by the heart, and then it comes through the heart straight out the mouth. So it's never processed by the brain, and it's just this receiving and this giving simultaneously. And what's happening is that the same time I'm receiving, I'm expressing, and the same time you're hearing, I'm also hearing. And so it creates this presence in the moment that's only available when I am channeling source, and when it's like, it's not even that I'm channeling it, it's that I'm identifying with it. I'm identifying with all that was, all that is, all that ever will be, and then allowing from that identity for it to just come out, for it to express. Welcome, Cole. I'm really glad you're here.
Thanks, Neal. This is good.
Hey, Neal, you also last week, or the week before, I can't remember. Anyway, you talked about surrender, and I think that's what you're kind of identifying there in your knowing, is that you said it was the secret sauce, the surrendering, and that's allowed you to get that flow of the knowing of all that is. So is that correct in that what I'm saying, that you are the surrender is your secret sauce to then opening the heart to receive the message of truth?
It is my secret sauce, and it's also yours, and it's also yours, and it's our secret sauce. This aspect of surrender,
Oh, yes.
Like, what we're surrendering is the mind. What we're surrendering is the ego, and we're surrendering all the stories. We're surrendering the my truth. We're surrendering the perception, the expectations, the opinions. We're surrendering what other people think of us. we're surrendering what we think of other people, and the aspect that we're surrendering of what we're thinking of other people is this element of judgment. So we're surrendering judgment. We're when we're like surrendering this aspect that how we see other people. The aspect that we're surrendering, that we're seeing from, is the egoic identity. So it's like, how would Dave see other people? Well, that's what I'm going to surrender. How would Neal see other people? And that's what I'm going to surrender. And like, how would Cole see other people? And then that aspect is what I surrender. And then when I surrender this aspect of how my past version views people and views situations and environments, because of that surrender, there's a space that opens up. And so after the surrender, there's like a spaciousness, but that's not the complete journey. See, from the spaciousness, then what there is allowing and receiving. And from this allowing and receiving, that's when we actually like look from the perspective of the I am, when we look from the perspective of the true self. And from this place, we can actually see, like, we're not making up a story from a program, or we're not making up a story from our egoic identity. We're present, and we're seeing what actually is here as reality, which from this place is then a knowing, is a certainty that this is how it is. And when you're like in your knowing, when you're in certainty, people flare up because it challenges their story, it challenges their opinion. And it's not even that it challenges it; they're only perceiving it as them being challenged. What it actually is doing is just revealing the lies. And when the lies are revealed, there's like a couple options, but like one of those options is to release the lie, but another option is to like literally just you've got to release the lie regardless, but you can resist releasing the lie, which is going to create like suffering or anger or trigger or some kind of a flare up. And or you can surrender the lie, which is, this is now literally it happening in real time, where a lie comes up and you surrender it. And then once you surrender it, you allow and you receive the truth. And there is such a beautiful example of this today with this person in the village. He's a newcomer. He's come here twice, and only specifically for a men's circle, so he hasn't been in any Awaken Life Live or anything. Very new to the community, and he's only been in Costa Rica for a month. And I'm not going to say his name just because I do have intentions of posting this content. But what he shared was that like he had this aspect of like literally seeing something in someone that was he was being triggered with John for being like super masculine, for being like controlling, for taking a stand. And what it was bringing up was all this trigger in him, to the point where he went and had a side conversation with a friend to see if he actually wanted to like talk about this. And like it was a whole thing. And it came up. And as a byproduct of this, he began to see new perspectives. And these new perspectives were mostly coming from a knowing, but some of them were coming from people just sharing perspective. And what happened was that this person began to surrender well, first of all, he owned it. He was like, all right, well, this is what I thought. I own this. Here I am. And once he owned it, he was able to, in the owning of it, he surrendered it. And I think they can go hand in hand, but I think sometimes they happen one after the other. For example, first you own it, and then next you surrender it. But I think in this particular case, it was owned and surrendered simultaneously. And then what happened after that was a receiving of the truth. It was a receiving of like maybe I was actually in a story there, and maybe I was being the thing that I was pointing out in somebody else. And so there was a lot in there. I'd like to do a check-in. Dave, you've been speaking, but I don't know, Dave, if you've met Cole. Have you met Cole?
But yeah, we were together at the Remember Experience back in
Okay.
November.
Can you share, Dave, just like your name and like what's alive for you right now? Like what's going on in your life and what are you doing for fun?
For fun.
Yeah.
Around here. Well, yeah, my name's David. I live in upstate New York, and I married to Brenda. She was also at the the Remember Experience. Right now, we're going through winter. What used to light me up was winter sports. I used to ski and snowshoe and that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, this year we're not having much of a winter. We just had snow today, but it was only an inch of slushy, wet stuff. So it's kind of depressing. So that's not lighting me up at all. We're contemplating heavily relocating to Costa Rica. That's kind of lighting us up as a potential, new life. We're seeing the chaos going on in the world, and we're very much truthers. You're mentioning truth and knowing. We've been on a path of truth seeking for a long time, and saw this coming, or see it all coming. So we're in a sense of, not to say fight or flight, but the United States is going to go through some turmoil, and we just found such love in Costa Rica. We want to be in a community where there is that vibe, where people are loving, respectful, and enhancing each other in that love. So that was unique in our experience in Costa Rica. So that is lighting us up as a potential. It's just a matter of financially and all that questioning how that can even work. We're pretty well set up here for the apocalypse. We're preppers. We're permaculture practitioners. Up here in the north. So we've done it all. We 10 years ago we started on this path. With the financial crisis back in 2008, we really started taking steps. Built a dome greenhouse. We raised chickens, rabbits, and ducks for meat. We are omnivores. We have to be here in the north because it's frozen 4 months of the year. So we preserve, we prep, we freeze. I have freezers full of food. I've got canned goods. That's the other thing about moving. It's like, what are we going to do with all our food? We have bags of oatmeal.
I got an idea. Do you want to hear the idea I have?
I would like to hear your idea.
Yeah, you just give it away.
Well, that's probably what would happen. I mean, we've got a lot invested in it. There's a lot of investment in that food. Time, money, everything. So it would be a great gift for somebody, of course. But so that's the we're battling with. It's we see what's coming. Do we stand and fight for America and for what we have, or do we cut and run and come back down there where it'll be peace and freedom, hopefully, and away from the tumult, somewhat. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be global, but much like you guys are dealing with down there, it's being able to ride it out. And what we see ultimately is we want to live as we are now on the other side. And that's what lights me up is living in freedom and truth and in love as human beings, as co-creators that we are meant to be. And I think when you get out of this matrix that's going to fall, it's a good thing it's falling. It's just going to cause a tumult. But on the other side, there'll be us to lead the way. For those that are going to have to seek and find the truth, they're going to be wanting it desperately, and we know where it is.
Yeah, this I just spoke to this earlier. Like we're here, so we're going through this communication process. Like we're listening to what I just listened to what you said and what you shared about your vision of moving to Costa Rica And I'm able to respond because I was listening from my heart, and I wasn't making up all these stories in my brain trying to think of an answer to say to you after you were done. And because of that, I can actually respond. And so we're here in this community doing this. We're heart listening, we're heart communicating, and what and emotions come up because lies come up and they get confronted, and then we sometimes get triggered. And but we have tools, we have communication, we have people we can reach out to navigate these things. And that's what's so unique about community, and about earthwaking in particular. And what I'm really became present to today is that this communication is really, really unique, and is being, even in the duration of this conversation, has been expressed masterfully by everybody here. And I see it again and again and again and again in this community. And uh, people in the world, they have thoughts, they have things they want to share, they have a voice, and they feel emotion, and they don't know how to speak their voice without judgment. They don't know how to communicate to have their voice be heard. They don't know how to speak from their heart. These people in the matrix, they have emotion, they have trigger, and it comes up, and they're like in total hell, like in total shit, and they're looking around, and nobody's there for them. Like they literally have nowhere to go, and they not only don't have nowhere to go, they have no way to communicate their experience. They have no way to communicate their emotion, and they're still in the emotion without a way to navigate it and move through it. And that's what's so unique about us being leaders here, is that we're going first, to actually demonstrate that it is possible, that when these things come up, we can speak what we're receiving. We can articulate our feelings in such a way that it can be received, and that we can navigate those feelings, and even possibly transmute them into higher feelings. And so yeah, I'm really present to the gift that we are. And so I'm putting this into the space. And I would love to hear your voice, Cole, and I invite you to say your name, and speak to what's alive for you, and what's fun in your life right
Yeah, thanks, Neil. This is awesome.
now.
I mean, I agree with all you guys are saying. This is really good stuff that seems like a lot of people are like either aren't aware of, or like too afraid to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, just like sharing from your heart, I think is like the biggest thing. Like I've had to learn of, because I feel like a lot of time I spent in my mind and trying to communicate from my mind. So kind of dropping into your heart and learning to like communicate from your heart. I really resonate with that. So
What's fun for you today or any day?
um what's fun for me? I mean, I love working in the garden, honestly. I think that's just getting outside and getting in the sun, and just like uh just doing different stuff. There's always something to be doing, and it's
Yeah.
just nice being outside and like working in nature. It's awesome.
Cole, where do you live?
I'm at the village.
Are you living there?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Wow,
Yeah,
congrats.
man. I haven't seen you in a while. Are you coming to the next Remember?
Probably not. Like I said just a few minutes ago, we're trying to plan. If we come back to Costa Rica, it's going to be investigatory. We enjoyed
Hmm.
the Remember experience, but we felt somewhat captured, in the 5 days there, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
so much that we missed in discovery. I mean, I made a trip to Diamante Valley. I've been in
Mhm.
communication with Amanda and Jose, and they've got some things going on down there we're very interested in, and we want to reconnect with them, as well as check out Dominicalito, Uvita, other places where we may want to kind of be, and as co-collaborators with Earthwaking, if not directly or indirectly, with what's going on there.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's good you made that distinction. And you can definitely do that. Like I feel like the Remember is like the one that you want to like be there the whole time. But yeah, like just coming down to this area and spending some time, like I don't know how long you're gonna be here, but it's really awesome. There's a lot to see and a lot to do around in this area of Costa Rica. So it's really, really cool.
I don't know if you remember Jake and Brandy from Canada, Toronto.
Yeah.
We kind of connected with them. They visited us like 3 weeks ago. They drove all the way
Really?
from Toronto to Eastern New York, and we spent a weekend together.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
we were trying to plan, how can we do this together? So they, Brandy's talking about leaving end of February to come down there for almost a month to explore, check out real estate options. She's in Toronto and she's really feeling the heat of the collapse of their government up there. So she wants to get the hell out, and she sees Costa Rica as a sanctuary. And she's trying to reel us in as well, because she's thinking that we could collaborate together, share expenses, that kind of a thing. So we're toying with all that. So that's, in the potential for February. But it wouldn't be the Remember experience, because we really want to, see what our situation could possibly be in relocating down there. So we would need to spend some time, see the country, look at some, villages, whatever.
Yeah,
There's
man.
opportunities.
Oh yeah, there's endless opportunities around here. There's so many places to see. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten out some, but yeah, I mean, I know I haven't seen like half of like, what's out there. So that'd be a great experience if you decide to do that.
Yeah, but just seeing also, as I said before, the New Earth concept, to be part of that. I see so much of that in Costa Rica, not just in Earthwaking, but in other villages, other things going on. There's Stephen Brooks doing some crazy stuff. Other parts of Costa Rica, him, permaculture teacher, and sort of.
What was his name?
Stephen Brooks.
Yes. Yes.
Villa and Punta Mona over on the Caribbean side. He's been doing some great stuff in Costa Rica, bringing people together, tied around permaculture, about spirituality and love. He's tied in with all that. So, there's an Acapulco coming up in February, also in Acapulco, Mexico. Anybody tying with that at all? The Dollar Vigilante group. We've been following
this
them
is
for
the
some
first time I hear about it. What is it?
Oh, in Acapulco. It's an anarchist summit that's occurring the second week of February in Acapulco, Mexico. It's been dubbed Anarchapulco, though they're celebrating their 10th anniversary. We're going on for 10 years. Amazing. Started by Jeff Berwick, the Dollar Vigilante, and he does videos up on in BitChute and some other places pretty much regularly, talking about the answer and the problems going on in an anarchist perspective. So yeah, it's a great gathering. It's a week-long event, and a bunch of speakers, and I see something that could happen in Costa Rica too, in a similar event, sort of vein, about the New Earth. Bringing speakers in and talking about freedom, self-autonomy, responsibility, all the distinctions that we're talking about in the visionary leadership program. So that's kind of where I see potentially all this going, is that a freedom movement breaking out, Costa Rica potentially being that sanctuary, as the world kind of breaks apart, the old matrix, out from the ashes, the phoenix, if you will. Costa Rica and places like it are going to show the way of the new earth and how to live as true humans, as we were meant to be, as co-creators with God here on this 3D surface here. So that's awesome. What's lighting me up and getting me excited. How that's going to manifest, we have to trust it to faith, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, Dave, you should come down to the village, even if it's not for the Remember experience. Like, if you're down here at like another time, you should come through for a little bit if you can.
No, absolutely. And next door, we're friends with George and Ricardo, who are in that little Airbnb just down the street. We stayed there while we were there, and they've invited us back, open arms. So we made some contacts there that have been phenomenal in their short time there. The love and, like I said, the open hearts that we received were really, really powerful. And we want to go. We were drawn back to it. We want to come back to that love, you know.
Oh yeah.
As you
Draw
experiencing
love.
there. Draw love, exactly.
I'm really blown away right now. Like, I'm blown away that it's been an hour. Like, I know you, Dave, joined in like a half hour in or something, like maybe 20 minutes in.
Yes.
I don't know what time you came, Cole. But we're here in the completion, and what I trust is that you have received a level of balance and cooperation that maybe it actually it's been there the whole time, but you're starting to see it now, and that's what I'm trusting in. I'm trusting that you've received this. There's no homework this week. I'm in this space of like let's have some fun. Let's celebrate. And I want to ask just a question. What's like one fun thing you're gonna do this week?
Me personally.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we just came back a little while ago from a walk with our dog. We do that daily. We have a little woodsy area, nature walk, has a pond. It's an old growth forest, so we're in nature daily, and that's just that's what lights up us up. Taking that little brief break from the hustle and bustle of the day, whatever, you know, I do outside sales, and that can be stressful at times spent in the car, but just to walk freely through a woods. My dog runs freely off leash, and that lights me up. Seeing the nature, the change of the seasons. Today it was all lit up with the snow, like frosting, painting on everything. It was beautiful.
Wow. What about you, Cole?
I think other than gonna be working around the village, which is fun. There's probably gonna be some stuff I'm gonna be doing around here, but hopefully I can get down to the river or the beach like at some point this week or this weekend. So that'd be really fun.
Yeah. My thing for fun is gonna happen tomorrow. I am actually going to the river tomorrow. I've already committed to it, so I'm
Nice.
going, and yeah, I'm really inspired. Thank you for being here. This is the completion, and I want to invite. I don't know if you know Dave, but Off Grid Dream Life is going literally right now. It just started. I'm going to be there. I invite you there. Thank you for your presence in this space. Thank you for your time and attention. Peace.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Have a
for
good
the
week.
space.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.